Alright, hi, good morning everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning once again. I hope that the mic is clear and so that everyone will be able to the point. So back in 5, 10, 15 years ago, we never thought that or could have imagined that we are having the conference online. The good memories that the IBBC conference have, as an MC as well, I will have to announce that normally may we invite everyone to kindly switch off your phone, to turn it into silent mode. But being the virtual conference today, still we are blessed so much of being together at this Cisco Webex Hall for the 9th International Borneo Business Conference 2020-21. It is my absolute pleasure to be the virtual MC for today's conference. My name is Dr. Razali Dato Haji Iranza from Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, Universiti Malaysia Sabah. With today's conference is proudly organized by Universiti Malaysia Sabah, UMS, and Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS, which sponsors and partners Sabah Tourism Board, STB, Grandis Hotel and Resorts, Kota Kinabalu, Juta Craft Enterprise, and Lanchal Padu Enterprise. I would like to request all of the participants to mute your mic temporarily, as you may raise your hand with the emoticon raise hands or write in the chat box for any comments or questions. There's a dozen of useful emoticons can be used. It is a live animated reactions that we can utilize as such on the screen that you may use it to emote react to us, such as applauses, LOL, laugh out loud, thumbs up, good, lovely, and celebrate. Yay. So thank you very much once again for joining us on Cisco Webex. Apart from this particular virtual conference, we are also broadcasting this live through Facebook, FPEP.UMS. Once again, I repeat, FPEP.UMS, yeah, which stands for Fakulti Perniagaan Ekonomi dan Perakhiran UMS. So you may search on Facebook, FPEP.UMS as well. So without further ado, let us give a warm welcome as well to everyone, especially to our Honorable Professor Datuk Chemist Dr. Taufik Yap Yun Hin, Vice Chancellor of Universiti Malaysia Sabah UMS, the Honorable Professor Datuk Dr. Haji Kasim Mat Mansur, Dean Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy FBEA UMS, our keynote speakers, Admiral Tan Sri Datuk Sri Panglima Dr. Ahmad Kamrul Zaman, Haji Ahmad Badaruddin, and Dr. Rafiq Idris, who have joined us since early this morning. With that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to our 9th International Borneo Conference today. So ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to ask for your permissions to direct your attention to our Malaysian National Anthem, Negaraku, and Sabah State Anthem, Sabah Tanaiku. All right, on behalf of the conference organizer, thank you as well. To begin the opening ceremony with the blessing, I would like to invite everyone to recite prayer as according to our self-religion and practices with a moment of silence. Al-Fatiha. All right, thank you all. May our event today run smoothly and be blessed by God, the Almighty and All-Powerful. On behalf of the conference organizer today, we wish to extend our warm welcome or selamat datang, and thank you everyone to all participants, guests of honor, delegates, and representatives from all parties. Thank you all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, today we have good numbers of participants, and most importantly, the keynote speakers today are remarkable. We hope to be able to conclude contributions to academia and also for the industry. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Kasim Mansur, our Dean, Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, FBEA, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, UMS, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Let us welcome Yang Berbahagia, the Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Kasim Haji Mansur.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Kemis Teknologis Dr. Taufik Yap Yun Hin, Vice Chancellor Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Yang berbahagia Profesor Madya Dr. Rozana binti Abdul Rahim, Dean Faculty of Economics and Business, Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS, as a joint advisor to this conference. Yang berusaha Dr. Rozili Asid, Conference Chair of IBBC. Yang berusaha Dr. Muhammad Khairul Hisham, Joint Conference Chair of IBBC from UNIMAS. Yang berbahagia Admiral Tan Sri Datuk Sri Panglima Dr. Ahmad Kamaruzaman Haji Ahmad Baharudin, Director and Advisor Green Wall Genetics Sdn Bhd. Yang berusaha Dr. Rafiq Idris, Director of Center for Investment, Endowment and Wakaf, Universiti Malaysia Sabah. All guests, organizing committee, presenters, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here today, and it is also a great pleasure for me to welcome all participants to the visual conference of the 9th International Borneo Conference, IBBC 2020, which is jointly organized by the Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, Universiti Malaysia Sabah and Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS. This biennial international conference was launched for the first time in 2004 through the collaboration of two prominent public universities in Borneo, UMS and UNIMAS. This year marks the 9th edition of this prestigious conference, in continuing the tradition in hopes to initiate ties among researchers as well as strengthening existing bonds and create new friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic COVID-19 we are facing now have pushed everyone into a world made possible by means of technology. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it is unique opportunity. At the practical level, we spent several months working with venues, conference committees, local partners, stakeholders, governments and various policy experts to respond to the still evolving situation of COVID-19 as the event changed from November 2020 last year to March 2021 this year, and then from the on-site event to the entirely online mode that the situation has dictated. However, the obstacles we faced did not impede our determination that paved the way to make this happen. We succeeded in receiving over 50 conference papers with presenters from various countries such as Indonesia, the Philippines, and Cambodia. The theme, Socioeconomic Empowerment, Achieving Integration and Sustaining Diversity, is very engaging. It is in line with the country's aspiration to enhance inclusiveness by providing equal opportunities for all Malaysians to participate and to benefit from economic growth and development as outlined in the 11th and 12th Malaysian Plan. The theme ties in this with the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, which incorporate efforts to ensure a balanced development of social, economic, and environmental sustainability, achieving socioeconomic empowerment through integrations and sustainability needs thorough preparation and efforts. The conference, therefore, provides a forum for business practitioners, policymakers, and scholars or academicians to come together to share ideas and knowledge on related issues in the light of the challenges facing us in the socio-economic, integration, and sustainability context. Yang berbahagia Datuk-Datuk, ladies and gentlemen, as the Dean of Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, UMS, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our co-organizer, namely Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS, for their full support, cooperation and contribution to the 9th International Borneo Business Conference or IBBC 2020. I would also like to congratulate the organizing committee led by Dr. Rosili Asid, our Deputy Dean, Research and Innovation from Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, UMS, for their enormous work behind the scenes to ensure the delivery and success of this very important conference. I wish all participants a very fruitful and productive sessions and will be able to benefit from presentation and discussion in this conference. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera.
Thank you once again, the Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Kasim Haji Mat Mansur. Thank you all for the applauses as well. Appreciate it very much. Together with us today, we also have the Honorable Professor Dr. Rosazana binti Abdul Rahim, Dean Faculty of Economics and Businesses, Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, Joint Advisor of IBBC, the respected Dr. Razili Asik, Conference Chair of IBBC, and of course, our Joint Conference Chair, the Honorable Dr. Muhammad Khairul Hisham from UNIMAS as well. So to proceed as well, let us invite the Honorable Professor Datuk Dr. Chemist Dr. Taufik Yap Yun Hin, Vice Chancellor, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, UMS, to deliver the opening speech. Let us welcome the Honorable Datuk VC.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berusaha Profesor Datuk Dr. Kasim Haji Mat Mansur, Dean Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, IBBC 2021 Keynote Speaker, yang berbahagia Admiral Retired Tan Sri Datuk Sri Panglima Ahmad Kamaruzzaman Haji Ahmad Badarudin, Director and Advisor, the Green World Genetic Sendiran Berhad, yang berusaha Dr. Rafiq Idris, Director of Center for Investment, Endowment and Wakaf UMS, yang berusaha Dr. Rosili Asid, IBBC Chairperson, UMS Principals and Seniors Officer, distinguished guests, all participants, students, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning. A very welcome to all delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here today for the opening of this conference, the 9th International Borneo Business Conference 2021, jointly organized by the Faculty of Business, Economics and Accountancy, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, and Universiti Malaysia Sarawak. As we know, the theme of the conference today is in line with the country's aspirations to enhance inclusiveness by providing equal opportunities for all Malaysians to participate and to benefit from the economic growth and development as outlined in the 11th Malaysia Plan. The theme ties in with the 2030 agenda for Sustainable Development through the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which incorporate effort to ensure a balanced development of social, economics, as well as environmental sustainability. The SDGs seek to realize the human rights of all and to achieve gender equalities and empowerment. The dimension of the Sustainable Development models are integrated and indivisible and balance the economic, social, and environmental aspect of development. Economics and policymakers admit that the economic empowerment is a crucial component to the achievement of sustainable development, and according to the United Nations definition, socioeconomic empowerment and individual full participations based on equality in all economic and social aspects, which including participations in the process of decision-making and assessing the power is considered to be one of the major components of achieving equality, development, and peace. Economic empowerment includes various economics, social, and health domains, such as familial, gender equality, wealth, and financing. Economic empowerment requires both the ability to excel and progress, and the ability to make and act on economic decisions. In order to thrive economically, individual must possess marketable skills and the ability to access fair and equitable access to economic institutions. Individuals who want to regulate economic activities need to know how to select from different choices and resources. The target is developed in such a way that meet the need of the present without losing the potential to meet the need of the future and guarantee the balance between the economic development, environmental sustainability, as well as the social well-being in the diverse world. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, I believe that the organizing committee of the conference has outlined and will bring a lot of issues on the subject to the table that will help all of us. The strong holistic partnership between the government, business, private sectors, citizens, experts, and academicians are paramount to ensure the achievement of the developed nation that reflect the importance of embracing diversity and supporting symbiotic relationship among societies to empower social economic development for all. On that note, I wish all the delegates and participants of this conference a fruitful discussion virtually. With the phrase, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby officiate this conference with great pleasure. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And salam sejahtera.
Thank you very much, Honorable Professor, Director Chemist, Technologist, Dr. Taufik Yap Yun Hin, Vice Chancellor of Universiti Malaysia Sabah. In light of the opening ceremony today, we have prepared a simple montage to all of you. Hope you enjoy the montage. Thank you. All right, such a beautiful montage on the journey of IBBC. As for today's keynote session of the day, the first speaker is one such an amazing person, a remarkable leader in the country. He is a prominent speaker, and we are so fortunate to have him here with us today. Admiral Tan Sri Dr. Sri Panglima, Dr. Ahmad Kamaruzzaman Haji Ahmad Badaruddin, has served the King and country of Malaysia for 42 years. He achieved a peak in his career as he assumed the command of the 16th Royal Malaysian Navy Chief on 18 November 2015 before he effectively retired on the 30th March 2019. Admiral Kamarul completed his Advanced Management Program, AMP, at the Harvard Business School, Harvard University, Boston, United States of America. He obtained his MBA from the University of Strathclyde Business School, Scotland, back in 1999, and MA in Defense Studies and International Relations from the National University of Malaysia in 2003. He also completed the executive program in business management at Canon Flagler Business School, University of North Carolina, United States of America. During his service, Admiral Kamarul, transcending ideas on transformation and strategic management, has formulated the Royal Malaysian Navy's 15-5 transformation program. His thoughts are regularly shared with senior management of corporate agencies and organizers, government agencies, and universities. These include the Central Bank of Malaysia, Khazanah Nasional, as well as several universities. Admiral Kamarul is a regular regional and international speaker on maritime security, innovation, and transformation. Currently, he still keeps himself active by knowledge sharing via lectures and leadership and management talks at 3 local universities, which including Universiti Malaysia Sabah, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, and Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Admiral Kamarul has strong and established strategic network within the government and as well as corporate organizations in Malaysia. He is currently on the board of directors in 3 public listed companies, which are T7 Global Berhad, OCR Group Berhad, and TRC Synergy Berhad. Admiral Kamarul, he does advisory and consulting roles on business transformation, strategic initiatives, turnaround integration, and global networking. With that note, let us invite the Honorable Admiral Tan Sri Datuk Sri Panglima, Dr. Ahmad Kamaruzzaman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Firstly, let me thank the organizer for having this opportunity for me to give this keynote address. I'm very grateful, and also I would like to thank the Datuk VC for allowing this thing to happen as well. One may wonder why am I doing here. I used to be Chief of Navy, so and now what I used to say, my Instagram used to be looking into maritime security was my domain. Now I'm going into food security. So from admiral to farmer. So this is what I am now doing now. I'm looking into areas where I'm talking about contribution to the society via food security. Thank you, Datuk VC, for the explaining a little bit about the background on the theme of the conference. I think it's very, very important subject, and especially among developing nations such as Malaysia. And the keyword socio-economic, in a way, these 2 words are very, very closely linked and interrelated. And as I go along later in my speech, I will highlight some of the key points. But my keynote address, as you have seen it here, is on the socio-economic empowerment, a holistic approach in addressing challenges. There will be a lot of challenges when you talk about addressing something that relate to people, relate to resources, relate to politics. So therefore, I hope to share some of my thoughts on how we can do better by looking into this in a holistic way. So I shall applaud again UMS and UNIMAS effort organizing this conference. And I think it's the first time we're doing this virtually and as part of the new normal due to the pandemic COVID-19. Now, I like to use this slide. This quite interesting slide. This is actually showing the 4G signal in Malaysia with respect to where the population density are. Yeah. So you can see the shade, all these areas shaded in blue. The higher or the darker blue represent more dense population as compared to the lighter blue. And this, you can relate this between the West Malaysia and also the East Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. And this also will show very clearly that, you know, the population here, you can see that as compared to here, right, densely populated, in a way reflect that these two diverse states in Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak, as compared to the other states in West Malaysia. It also shows the challenges on digital divide, where it becomes now an issue in the new normal, especially for schools, education, and also businesses. And on top of that, the diversity also relates to the race. There's so many race in Malaysia, religion, and also politics. And I do have to tell you more by just look at the number of political parties in Malaysia governing the nation. It is, in fact, a global agenda. When we talk about socio-economic empowerment, it is a global agenda. And there are a lot of initiatives being done and looked into, and how we can empower the communities, including women, and more importantly, in my view, should be the youth, who will form leaders for our future generation. In Malaysia, there is also a national agenda to empower the diverse communities, especially in the rural areas, particularly in Sabah and Sarawak. This is a key to reduce the disparity in socio-economic development between Malaysia and West Malaysia. Now, let me show you a slide. This is me when I was in uniform a couple of years back. But this slide effectively shows that the commitment by the Malaysian government, in the sense that even though the Navy and the military, the resources that the government have put to bear in Sabah and Sarawak is huge. This shows, for example, this slide also shows the number of ships that's being tasked to protect the waters of Sarawak and Sabah. And if you can see also, there's two submarines here. These are the most expensive strategic asset we have in the Navy. We only got two, and both are actually, in fact, in Sabah. So it shows the commitment of the government in terms of actually protecting the nation, especially in Sabah and Sarawak, where the threats are quite clear. Why? Because security is a very, very key element to ensure that we provide a good, conducive environment for political stability and also the economic development. But questions that we should be asking, is that what are the challenges in implementing these policies, and how successful are some of the programs that have been implemented before? So I would like to use a model which I developed here. You can see a simple triangle here. Now, this management model, which I hope to provide a better understanding for every participant in the conference, is that when we examine any organization, be it from a company perspective, state perspective, governmental perspective, or even international perspective, we need to look into three main elements which form this triangle. So this is the, I call it structure, policy, and process. Now, it's very important for us to understand that it's all closely related, in the sense that you need to form a good structure And drug structure must be very clear, and people must understand, the roles of individuals in the organization structure, and the structure must not be too hierarchical, for example, or has to be a lot of bureaucracies into the whole setup. And it's also very important having a structure. We need to have policies in place. Policies in place relates to regulations, rules, and to make sure that we all follow whatever regulation and rules embedded in the constitution, for example. In a company, you've got company constitutions and so on and so forth. And obviously, having this policy, we want to make sure that everybody does their work in accordance with the policy. And more important, the next thing is actually now is to ensure that people knows what to do. So I call it process in this case, where this process can even be documented in, for example, the standard operating procedures, frameworks, and everything else. But more important, that is, I'd like to show to everybody here, is the central of this thing is the people. It's the people that actually draw up the structure. It's the people that actually write up the policies, and the people that actually ensure that the implementation of all the policies through the process that has been improved over time, able to achieve whatever mission and vision of the organization by itself. And these three elements here needs to be stable, and if any one of the triangle here wobbles, then the whole thing becomes unstable. And it is the people inside here are also related to the stakeholders as well, people, community, the staff, the employees, and so on and so forth. Now, I put this line across here, around here, meaning that we need to continue to evolve. We need to continue to improve ourselves based on the stakeholders' expectation, the rakyat expectation, for example. The people who work for us, or the people who we work for example, those are stakeholders. So as and when the stakeholders' expectation changes, we need to also change accordingly based on the concept of continuous improvement. Now, one of the key area or personality or element within people is actually the leadership. Now, I take the to like to share with everyone here. This is just a snapshot of elements or traits or criteria for leadership, which in my view, that I just take a snapshot here for the purpose of this conference. A leadership that we want to be in driving or managing the program for social economic development, empowering the socio-economic development. I use these slides a lot in my leadership lectures in some of the universities in many organizations, and I mapped this one out. It's a very simple slide, but it shows many things. So, for example, we want to ensure that the leadership that planning or talking about working on managing socio-economic empowerment program, for example, the element of integrity is key. You need to have people who have high integrity in our leadership, within our leadership. People who want to talk about give focus on community, for example. You have a high level of trust. Leadership that have vision, leadership that always look at rakyat or the people ahead of everyone else. We have to ensure that the interest or the interest of the rakyat or the people is ahead of our own interest, our group interest, for example. Leader that must understand that resources are very limited, and therefore prudence is a very important element in anything that we want to do, especially running a program that costs financial requirements. Leader that must believe that they can empower people. It's not just the leader doing it, because you can't achieve a student program doing it yourself. You need people around you. You need people on the ground. Everybody to be behind you. and you need to get the right level of stakeholders to be empowered. Yeah, and I will go through this a bit more in details. You know, under the new normal, for example, now the leader must be also able to leverage on technology. The leader must understand how data can be used, data analytics can be leveraged upon to improve efficiency and effectiveness. Leader that will look into education, healthcare for the community. Now, leader that able to have strong communication ability in order for them to engage the stakeholders, engage the public, because they have a commitment and passion, and so on and so on. Now, at the same time, leader must also have the humility, must be humble when we talk about rakyat or people that we look for. So I can in fact give one whole lecture just within this one slide, but that is not the aim. But I'm just talking about this is one of the key elements in the slide that I use this now as people. Now, I like everybody's attention here. This is the next model, management model that I've always referred to. I've improved upon it, and it's really strongly on the theme of this conference when we talk about social and economy. Yeah, so economic and social, and again, these two are very much interrelated. They are very much complementary. And yeah, it's all about, again, about people. When we talk about economy, it's about economy. It's not talking about related to people. Talking about social is also related to people, the well-being of the people. Yeah, we're talking about the job creation, wealth creation, standard of living, for example, the needs of the people, for example, food, healthcare, and education. Now, even though economy and social seems to be the two main area of focus based on the theme of this conference, when we discuss on issues and challenges in the development of a nation or its national agenda, there are actually other perspectives that needs to be appreciated and to be addressed as well. And this is where I like to give spend a bit more time into here. We need to ensure that we can leverage on technology. This again, I mentioned about the digital divide, the slide that shows you just now, you know, how far, for example, the remote areas in Sarawak and Sabah is way behind as compared to maybe West Malaysia. And the digital divide will have challenges on economic development, education, and so on and so forth. And the next element that I like to talk about is environment. As much as we are looking into program for social and economic development, and we want to empower people, we also must understand that it does have impact on the environment. And climatic change that we have seen over the years, which has contributed to the increase of disasters, pollution, and so on. And this raised challenges with respect to maybe non-governmental organization, you know, that also relate to some pressure group, which if we are not careful about their expectation, we are not careful about what their demand and so on, it will have a huge challenge in any of our program. And areas like this again can be politicized depending on what is their motive and so on. The next element is legal. Yeah. So I talk about just now the policies, conventions, and everything else that one needs to be aware of, that we need to take into account the aspects of legal in any programs, any initiatives that we are planning or we are managing. This is one of the areas that sometimes people do not give enough focus. When they do that, then we have problem along the line. It will impact on program stalls, program runs into program when we talk about the court, legal issues being brought up to the court, and so on and so forth. So aspects of legal is it must be given emphasis, and this perspective is needs to be given special attention. And the other next point is on security, which is my domain. I was even maybe looking at maritime security, as you are aware. This constitutes also related to defense and security of the nation in general. The security also provides, the sense of security to the community, to the rakyat, a sense of security to the potential investors, the foreign investors, for example. So we are not able to ensure security, not only that it will impact on the economic and social development, the security will also means that we would not be able to be efficient in some of the running of our program, for example. So it is very important area that is why the federal government is putting a lot of resources into ensuring that the state of Sabah and Sarawak is given special attention. And security also can relate to other parts of security, the energy security, water security, and also in this case, which I am very passionate, is actually on food security. And the most, I think, important element, which to me is very, very key, needs to understand better, is actually on politics. So I put that last, and this is what my model, I call it pastels. In MBA, if you attend MBA, they call it past analysis. So I've added on a few, the ELS, and related to this case, pastels. Politics is one of the huge challenge, but I always like to look at challenges as opportunities. So in this regard, we need to leverage on the aspects of politics to ensure that we are able to get support and buy-in from all the stakeholders, including the politicians, when they will look into programs that we want to run on social and economic development and empowerment. And by doing this, we're able to integrate the whole, everybody need to ensure the success of our program. So the pastel models provide, the pastel models here provide a holistic approach and would be very useful to avoid any oversights and ensure effective implementation, as I said, to any program. Now, I would like to now introduce my company. I've got a video that UMS will be playing in a little bit, but before that, GWG or Green World Genetics, we are actually into food security. Now, before continuing on here, the COVID-19 pandemic has raised many issues and challenges to mankind. One of it is actually food security. Our neighbor South Singapore, for example, have a very, very good experience during the pandemic because of all the ports closed down, all the airports closed down, all the border closed down, and food are not able to come into the country. As you are aware, Singapore have to import more than 90% of its food for its people. And only 1% of land in Singapore is actually for agriculture or for food. So you imagine for how long that it was having a close down. The risk of not having food on the table is very, very serious. And because of that, Singapore have now come up with this very, very interesting initiative called 30 by 30. It's food security goal to produce 30% of its nutritional needs locally by 2030. It's an amazing program. It's for whoever was interested. You can Google and look into how Singapore is looking into addressing this, even though they do not have big land, but they are looking at vertical farming. They are looking into having protein produced by not through vegetable, not through meat, through other things as well. So as long as provide protein for the people. Now, so Green World Genetics, Bertekad is involved in a total food value chain company, especially in seeds production. And our latest venture in Sarawak is something that I'd like to share a little bit more. But if we can look at the slides here, our 5-year program for a strategic program here, estimated economic spin-off to the nation is about 6 billion. We're looking into if the things goes well, if get the right support, and everybody comes on board. You are looking into job opportunities of more than 7,500 people in terms of job creation. There are a lot of idle land around in Malaysia, especially in Sarawak. In Sabah, they've got huge land, but previous programs that's been, implemented fail, and halfway through, and this land become idle. There are a lot of land that actually not being used, as what it should be. So effective land utilization is one of the areas that we are looking into in the state of Sarawak and Sabah later on. With this, some of the things that we are focusing is actually on seeds. Seeds. And seed security is the basis of food security. And if you imagine if these things goes on track, we are looking into poverty elimination and able to create more business opportunities. And this is again very much in line or in support of the point which I mentioned in the team here. We are talking about the socio-economic empowerment. We need to empower people. We need to empower the farmers. We need to empower the local key stakeholders in the states for them to help us. Now, just to maybe how we have a feel, we will get UMS to play the video for us. I just stop sharing here. Okay. You can still hear me, so we can have the UMS to play the short video of the program. Thank you.
Projek penanaman padi 2 kali setahun ini mula dilaksana pada pertengahan Ogos lepas di kawasan seluas 15 hektar dengan menyasarkan hasil 4 tan metrik sehektar. Penggunaan benih padi variety moden yang berkualiti tinggi juga salah satu faktor penting. Projek perintis di Kampung Limau ini menggunakan benih padi dari variety MR269 dengan tempoh matang yang singkat. Padi dari variety ini dapat dituai
untuk melahirkan usahawan dan pembangunan industri padi supaya kita boleh bergerak sama dengan pihak selanjutnya.
Mula-mula si kalit latino tamanya berundang ke Tegal Mansang ke Deto. Nyaute yang na injin mangga begitu itu nambah yang na injin gitu tadi kita mendang na injin maja yang na drone kami itu yang semua tanya mai bekerja nak daton
dulu tuh kemarin kira ke beri kampung menuatu kuasato tadi begini ndak kita itu nyati lah ya aku pikir aku
Okay, thank you very much. I continue with my presentation here. I apologize to the international participant because the short video clip is actually the news extract from our national TV. Is in Malay, but what it shows there is that the program that we are looking into is introducing hybrid paddy. Hybrid paddy that will have a much more higher yield as compared to the normal conventional paddy. It is not only about improving the yield, also improving quality and therefore the value, and therefore also the robustness of this paddy as compared with the traditional way of doing things. This particular program that we're looking into also, as you have heard, we have seen, we need to leverage on a lot of technology using modern systems. We look into using of drones. We look into managing the paddy in a way of in a professional management. We need to teach the local farmers about the techniques And this is not going to be very, very easy. Through our initial experience, our managers was very impressed about how excited people are looking into what we plan for them, as we go along in the future. And moving forward, we have seen that some of the examples, successful success stories, for example, we have these young people, the challenges of young people moving out from the villages to go into town and cities to look for jobs because they reckon that it's not glamorous to be in the paddy field. But what we have shown people, the opportunity that we're looking into and introducing with the Sarawak state government, for example, where a farmer is no longer in the future we look into as something that is low. In fact, you look to countries like Australia, the farmers are a lot more well paid compared to professionals like doctors and lawyers and businessmen. And hopefully, when we are able to show this, and by empowering the youth, for example, to show them when they are on board, when they look into how to manage their farms better, and what revenue they can bring in, and how can they improve the standard of living of the local communities, we believe that they will be able to be empowered to drive this industry forward. And as I mentioned, Sarawak and Sabah have huge land. And one of the aim of the Sarawak state government is to be the hub for Malaysia, or hub of seeds for seed production for Malaysia. And I believe this can be done, and this is why we have got very, very good support from the state government, especially at the leadership. But again, it looks nice on paper, but I can tell you there's a huge challenge in ensuring that we're able to in running this program. And this is one of the tools that or the process or the areas that I like to share with all of you. We're talking about the challenges is managing stakeholders. And this by me, I have drawn up a simple stakeholders analysis chart here. If some people are familiar with stakeholder analysis, we are looking at power and interest grids. Power on the y-axis, interest on the x-axis, and I just mapped out all the stakeholders in here. And this again, just from my perspective, as we engage with the stakeholders here. What it shows here, a local community, the villages, for example, obviously they have got no power, and if you do not explain to them, if you do not engage them, their expectation is very low. So they are, should I say, in the lowest bottom left of the quadrant here. Yeah? Then they look at some of the areas, for example, politicians. There are a lot of politicians around. So I just put their politician A and politician B. Obviously, politicians have got power. They are only interested whenever there are opportunities for them. What is it in for them? Yeah? If you're talking about if those people in the villages here, the local community, for example, if you will tell them what is it in for you in certain program, we've got a local community will vote you in the next election, for example. So obviously they will be, yes, I like that, and they will be very interested. And I think this is where, for example, these guys here, I'm sure some of the politicians in Sarawak and Sabah would love to support this program, because what does it mean for them? If they support, then obviously the public, the rakyat, the citizen will vote for them in the next election. This is just an example. Yeah, you've got a federal government, they are powerful, but if they do not know what's the plan and what is going on and so on and so forth, and they will remain here as compared to maybe the local government, which is more interested because it's talking about their own, local interest. But we're able to convince them and also the others to support any program should be on the, right top hand quadrant as compared here. So we are lucky because we're able to engage the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister of Sarawak, and they have seen what we are doing elsewhere. Yeah, we have got 16 research farms in Malaysia as well, and a few other states in other countries, namely in Thailand, in Myanmar, and also in China. So having seen what the program we were in for, we are looking into. So we've got the full support of the Chief Minister of Sarawak, for example. But he needs to get all the others to come on board as well. Even the media is a key stakeholder for us to manage, for people to manage. If they are interested, they see what's good, and there is a very good story to tell the public, then obviously, they can be from here to here. So we need to get more entrepreneurs on board. And one of the outcome or the output that we will be producing, GWG, is basically agro entrepreneurs in the country. Agro entrepreneurs meaning the youth. We train them, we select them, we train them until they actually know how to manage, and then they manage the farm locally. So they buy seeds from the company, and they produce the seeds, and we buy back, for example, contract farming and that kind of thing. So NGOs, we talk about a little bit about NGOs earlier on. It depends on where they are and what they're looking into. We are not careful, there can be a pressure group, especially when they are doing farming that maybe is not in line with protecting the environment, obviously. So if we're able to understand their sensitivities, their needs and their mission, and we engage them positively, the NGO, the environmentalists will also support any program. So GWG remain committed to in our program moving ahead, and we put a lot of resources into helping local farmers so that they're able to get better revenue. If they get better revenue, then obviously they can bring more income home. Not only that, they're able to educate their children, and the children will manage the farms better. And we want to bring or upgrade the standards of living with farmers, and maybe come to time, farmers will be looked high by the local community because of the way we are looking into empowering them as we move in the future. Now, what we are hoping by engaging people, we look at hopefully moving some of the key stakeholders more towards the right quadrant here. So I will not dwell. There'll be a lot of interesting things you can discuss here, but this is not a lecture. This is more sharing of thoughts. So, but again, having said this, there are still challenges. What do we need to do, and how do we need to move on? I think this one I want to share a little bit more with all of you. One of the first thing that I feel is very important is actually we need to have a clear and focused strategy. Clear and focused strategies. We want to make sure that our engagement strategy with the stakeholders, for example, we've got a plan to engage every one of them so that all of them will support every one program. And I think we must be very clear. We need to have a clear and focused communication strategies to do that. We need to have a plan that relates to manage resources and so that we are able to optimize all our resources better. We need to build trust. Trust is a very important element. You saw my slides on leadership. Trust is one of the key areas that you want to be a good leader. You need to be trusted. When people trust you as a leader, they will back you up, and it'll be a lot easier for you to do your job, for example. So build trust among all the stakeholders. It's another way how we need to ensure as we move on. We need to have a continuous engagement via effective communication. Again, this is also very much interrelated. We need to ensure that whatever that we do, we need to monitor and measure performance. I always believe that what's get measured gets done. If we just do things without measuring our progress, then a lot of resources wasted because we'll be doing the wrong things We need to do the right things the right way. You know, not just doing the right thing. If you're doing the right thing the wrong way, it costs a lot of money. If you do the wrong thing, then again you're having a problem. So doing the right thing the right way. And having said that, by looking into performance, by measuring, monitoring our performance, we're able to improve. Looking at our strategies, improve the strategies as we go along. Come up with better action plans to improve, make sure that our performance on track. And if we do this, we're able to demonstrate to the people that we are doing the right things, and they can see, they can feel about what they are doing right and what benefit they are getting from it. A lot of organizations do things, but doing things is just not enough. They must make sure that that people can see and feel what they're doing. So it's a perception management is also very, very important. Yeah? So it is not about doing, it's about what people feel that you are doing it right. So this is also very important for me to share. And also talking about risk in any programs, in any business, any initiatives, there are risks. And risk is there because we're talking about looking into the benefit, but risk can be managed. So we need to identify and manage risk as much as also we need to look at how we manage our resources. I mentioned about resources are very finite. You can't get, you can't just look at budget and hoping that whatever budget you ask from the government, be it at the state level or the federal government, you get the budget. I can tell you, especially now, with the stimulus that the government around the world is putting into, getting the nation back on track, hundreds of billions of ringgit, of dollars put to bear to recover. And therefore, please bear in mind that whatever you plan in your budget, you rest assured that you will not be able to get whatever that you hope for. So therefore, work within your means, work within your control. Whatever the money that you have with you, you have to manage it prudently to ensure that, again, with integrity, you can avoid corruption, you can reduce corruption, and therefore able to optimize your resources better. So this, again, what and how we need to address this. And and lastly, talking about inclusiveness, we need to get everybody on board. We need to get all the stakeholders on board when we talk about ensuring that we're able to drive our programs ahead. We do not want to leave anyone out. We need to get make sure that people understand and people feel that they are all given the opportunities. Especially relates to empowerment here. I'm being focused on the local community leaders, looking into and also on the youth, the Remaja, and also the local politicians, so that they are always in support of the program. Now, I'd like to share what Albert Einstein says about insanity. What I'm trying to relate to here, we have to change. If we are doing the things that the same things that we do over and over again and expecting different results, expecting success, I think that is insanity. In fact, I think what we were to want different results, better results than what we are getting before, you have to try different approaches. And so again, on my towards the end, people, the rakyat is very, very key element. Again, stress on the word people here. We need to continue to challenge the structure. Remember, I talked about the trilogy, challenge the policies, challenge the processes, so that we can continuously improve ourselves, continue to improve our program with the people always in mind. We need to carefully integrate the trilogy just now and build upon people, build upon talent, motivate people, so that they all understand what we are trying to do here is actually for the people. So final takeaway for all of you here, just a simple 5 takeaway here is about managing change. So change we must, and change is not easy, but we have to accept that we have to change, we have to manage change carefully. Pastels, I hope that everyone can take this away. It's a good takeaway, it's a good model to be used in any programs, talking about political, economic, social, technology, environment, legal, and social is elements of perspective that if you always take into consideration, we're able to do a better job in any program. Stakeholder analysis is very powerful. The reality is that we cannot shock sendiri in Malay or do things just like what we think we want to do. We have to understand all the other stakeholders. We need to get them on board. We need to convince them. We need to win their hearts. We need to get buy-in from them, and only then will be a very successful program. And again, focus on people. I've said that enough. Get everybody on board. And finally, I always like to look into challenges as opportunities. And I think on that note, I end my keynote address. My contact number is here. If any one of the participants want to have some direct engagement with me, please do. I'll be very happy to take on from there. Again, thank you very much to the organizing committee for having this session. I'm very honored and having this opportunity to present my keynote. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Honorable Admiral Tan Sri. We really enjoyed your speech, especially how we have benefited from the sharing itself. Your expertise is one of the greatest value to the conference. Strategies need to be clear, build trust, and continuous engagements are the key points for the effective management on today's world. And remember that the takeaways points that Tan Sri has shared with us was about managing change effectively, which will be considering the environmental factors, pastels, as well as analyzing the stakeholders and the interest of the people, which is Tan Sri has emphasized the inclusiveness. So once again, thank you very much to our keynote speaker today. So let us proceed to the keynote speaker for the second session. We have Dr. Rafiq Idris. He's the director of the Center for Investment, Endowment and Wakaf, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, Chief Operating Officer of UInvest Holdings Sdn Bhd, Senior Lecturer at Faculty of Business Economics and Accountancy, UMS, and being as well the Associate Fellow, Unku Aziz Center for Development Studies, Faculty of Economics and Administration, University of Malaya. So without further ado, let us invite the Honorable Dr. Rafiq Idris.
Hello. Hello. Moderator, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Rafiq, it is very clear. Thank you very much.
All right,
It is
thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, Dato' Razali. First of all, I would like to extend my appreciation to the organizer for inviting me to be a keynote speaker for today's conference. Dear virtual delegates and participants of the conference, again, welcome to the 9th International Borneo Business Conference. Assalamualaikum and Selamat Sejahtera. Today, I would like to speak about something related to regional economics, something related to the theme of the conference, which is socio-economic empowerment, achieving integration and sustaining diversity. How regional economic cooperation or collaboration is important in achieving economic prosperity, at least in the context of Borneo. How socio-economic empowerment happen by achieving or sustaining integration and diversity. Dear delegates, from my point of view, I see priorities to building a stronger recovery from the crisis or pandemic and how international cooperation can play this role. As we gather virtually, the global economy has started to climb back from the depths of the COVID-19 crisis. But the resurgence in infections is delaying our recovery. It is a powerful reminder that we cannot achieve a sustainable recovery anyway unless we defeat the pandemic everywhere. In the context of Borneo, we need to work together to fight the pandemic and rebuild our economy. Borneo as an island or a bloc should think on how to strengthen collaboration and complementing each other rather than competing with each other all the time. Dear delegates of the conference, I would like to begin also by giving a snapshot of present economic activities within Borneo. Sabah, from the Malaysian side, Sabah and Sarawak has been dependent on petroleum, palm oil and services sector as the main contributor to the economy. For the Indonesian side, in general, mining and quarrying are the most important contributors to the income of the provinces in Kalimantan, with exception to Central and Western Kalimantan. In Central and Western Kalimantan, agriculture, forestry, and fishing sectors are the most important ones. For East, North, and South Kalimantan, coal is the important commodity under mining and quarrying sector. The trade has been increasing over time, but not that much. We are not the main trading partners for our overall trade. So that means our trade with each other is not that much as compared when we trade with other countries from the rest of the world. Dear delegates of the conference, under the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, Malaysia have benefited significantly through various agreements, initiatives, or programs. On this regard, Sabah and Sarawak as states in Malaysia not an exception. When ASEAN was established in 1967, various agreements were signed and many programs were organized and executed. Among the big ones were the ASEAN Summit, which was first held in Bali, Indonesia in 1976, ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, which was signed in 1992. Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Areas, or known as BIMPIAGA, formed in 1994. ASEAN Regional Forum, ARF, established in 1994. ASEAN Plus 3 in 1997. ASEAN China Summit in 1997. ASEAN Plus 6, or also known as East Asia Summit, where the first meeting was held in 2005. And the more recent initiative known as ASEAN Economic Community, among others. Among all those that I mentioned, there are few biggest initiatives which are namely AFTA Agreement, AFTA, BIMPIAGA, and ASEAN Economic Community have somehow impacted the Borneo region or potentially give impact to the region. AFTA Agreement, which was signed in 1992 during the ASEAN Summit in Singapore, with the goal to integrate the ASEAN market where there is freer movement of goods and services by reducing trade barriers gradually. Since the AFTA Agreement was signed, it has attracted many questions from the general public. Have bilateral trade between Sabah and its neighboring countries increased significantly as a result of this agreement? That is for AFTA. In 1994, we had BIMPIAGA, with the goal to stimulate growth in key areas involving 4 countries in ASEAN. Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. The key areas in BIMPIAGA are agro-industry, fisheries, tourism, energy, transport, and shipping. The question is, since the establishment of this sub-regional cooperation, has growth in the key areas increased? Has regional trade increased significantly? In the context of Sabah, trade between Sabah and Indonesia have changed after AFTA and BIM-Piaga were launched. Looking into official trade data, export to Indonesia have increased over time post-AFTA agreement 1992 and BIM-Piaga 1994 initiative, even though at times there were reduction. Okay, however, export to Indonesia does not increase sharply immediately after AFTA agreement was signed and BIM-Piaga was launched. It took several years before it clearly happened. Okay, the increase was obvious post 1997-98 Asian financial crisis. Okay, in terms of Sabah's import from Indonesia, a clear pattern of increase started after 97-98 crisis, Asian financial crisis as well. However, it is hard to attribute the increase to BIM-Piaga since the focus was more on stimulating the growth in the 5 strategic key areas I mentioned earlier. Okay, in effort to further integrate ASEAN, okay, ASEAN countries had agreed to establish ASEAN Political Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community I mentioned just now, and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. The 27th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur recorded a history when the ASEAN leaders announced for the formal establishment of the ASEAN Community in December 2015. For that purpose, the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the ASEAN Community Blueprints 2025 were announced, where it is being targeted for the period 2016 to 2025 and are intended to establish the ASEAN Political Security Committee, ASEAN Economic Community, and the ASEAN Sociocultural Community. The ASEAN Economic Community is a type of economic integration where it further expands the previous form of integration, okay, the AFTA. Although Malaysia has FTA agreements with all the other AEC members, the AEC is seen as a positive step towards deeper economic integration within the region. In the context of ASEAN, AEC is more on the idea of establishing a common market where there will be freer movement of goods and services, capital, and skilled labors. And this is to be implemented gradually. Okay, therefore, the main objective is to facilitate the movement of investment, capital, goods, services, and skilled labors within ASEAN in order to enhance ASEAN's trade and production networks, as well as to establish a more unified market for its consumers and firms. Having said that, even though Borneo states or provinces are integrated via AFTA or AEC or BIM-Piaga, some indicators do not show that there is a deep economic integration happening. For example, the trade volume between Sabah and provinces in Kalimantan, the amount is not that substantial. Where should we go from here? How can Borneo benefit from the various agreements signed and programs initiated at regional level? Okay, in an effort to explore new economic window, there was a suggestion to further integrate the economies in Borneo Island by improving connectivity. The road connectivity with Kalimantan has been proposed as having the potential to further stimulate Sabah's economic growth. One of the suggestions was to have road from Serudong in Kalabakan, Serudong to Simanggaris, okay, from Malaysia's side of Sabah. A further economic integration through road connectivity with North Kalimantan is important because it supports the AEC initiative for deeper economic and people-to-people integration and interaction. The freer movement of investment, skilled labor, and capital through AEC would mean that ASEAN strives to further enhance its image as an attractive investment destination at global scale through the establishment of a transparent, open, and predictable investment regime in the region. The amelioration of investment environment in ASEAN is to be achieved by the implementation of the ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement, ACIA, which provides for progressive liberalization of existing investment restrictions in manufacturing, agriculture, fishery, forestry, and mining, and the services incidental to these sectors, giving more investment protection and ensures transparency of investment regulations, laws, and administrative guidelines. As a result of the reform, it has the potential of attracting more foreign direct investments to enter Sabah, even to Sarawak, or even to Kalimantan, and other parts of ASEAN. Okay, besides attracting investment from countries outside ASEAN, it also may add impetus for ASEAN investors to invest within ASEAN, and specifically in Sabah, Sarawak, or even Kalimantan. More FDIs into Sabah would mean more job and income and wealth creation in the state as a result of spin-off effect or multiplier effects. Thus, it gives a positive impact on Sabah's gross domestic product. And with the last 2 years announcement by the President of the Indonesian Republic, Pak Jokowi, that there will be a relocation of Indonesian capital city to East Kalimantan. So this is something positive to the Borneo region. Perhaps the connectivity will be more beneficial when the relocation really happens. Okay, in continuation to earlier efforts, ASEAN will continue to eliminate or decrease border and behind the border regulatory barriers that affect trade. This can make trade cheaper, and hence may have positive effects on trade. Okay, also in relation to this, in the recent development, past few years or some years, the strategic action taken by the government to improve connectivity through Pan-Borneo Highway project will indeed lower the logistic costs in Sabah and Sarawak. It will stimulate economic activities and attract foreign direct investment. It has the potential to attract FDI. So to ensure that Sabah further benefit from ASEAN integration, it is recommended that road connectivity within Borneo Island is to be further improved. Okay, for example, road connectivity with East Kalimantan or with North Kalimantan proposed by the government, and actually it has been approved in the 2020 budget. Okay, indeed is a positive move as it has the potential for greater economic activities and engagement, where it can reduce the trade balance position with regard to Sabah's trade with Indonesia. Okay, with the construction of the Pan-Borneo Highway again, when it becomes reality and the progress of the Trans-Kalimantan Highway, there should be a project to integrate both highways to develop the possible economic potentials. So both Trans-Kalimantan Highway and Pan-Borneo highways can be catalysts for economic growth of Borneo, and both can begin by creating corridor to link both highways and induce development along the corridor as the new growth cluster. Okay, in the context of Sabah, several questions arise. Okay, how this benefit the state? Should there be additional efforts to connect Sabah and Kalimantan via road? Should Sabah spend money to improve logistical connectivity with Kalimantan? All right. Okay, those questions I have answered just now. Yes, it is important. It has the potential to attract investment and to stimulate economic activities within Borneo. So it is recommended that effort to be intensified at state level. Various dialogues at different levels, sectors, industries, in addition to existing ones such as the Sosek Malindo, okay, Bimpiaga, okay, need to be established and diversified to further spark collaboration. Regular communication between chambers of commerce as well are important. I myself very involved in this regard. Okay, myself and also friends from UMS and business players, we did visit Kalimantan, few different parts of Kalimantan, and we have dialogue even with the chambers of commerce from the other side, together from our side. Okay, it is a positive thing, and we should continue to have the dialogue or communication, and with support, with a political will, support from the state. Okay, in addition, for the context of Borneo, also infrastructure and connectivity need to be improved all over Borneo. Okay, collaboration must be strengthened not only on purely economic matters, but also on security, education, and health. For this to happen, there must be a political will from all sides. Okay, perhaps my last word for this keynote speech, okay, to improve the economic well-being and achieve economic prosperity in Borneo, we must work together by complementing each other. We work as a bloc, as a neighbor, as a region in ASEAN. With that, thank you very much. I would like to thank the organizer for having invited me to be one of the keynote speaker for this conference. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Rafiq, for such a tremendous sharing on the biennial perspective, Malaysia being the ASEAN countries, and lots of innovative ideas that coming from you. We appreciate it so much. Now, if I will able to open up the session for a quick Q&A session, if there is any from the floor, from the participants. If you have any questions that you would like to direct to Babadia Tan Sri or Dr. Rafiq himself. For any participants that is shy to put up questions, you may put up your questions on the chat box.
I have a question.
All right, we have Amir Azlan from Universiti Malaysia Sabah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. Salam sejahtera. Thank you very much to both of our speakers for very interesting presentations and some inspiring views about our themes for today's conference. I have a questions to Tan Sri regarding the relocation of Jakarta to East Kalimantan for the capital city. What are the security aspects that we may need to look at? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the. This will be my domain, security aspects. I strongly believe that Indonesia has got its own strategic plan. Yeah, and whatever they're putting in place, in Kalimantan is something that they know that a long time ago. It is on, I would say, mind, and the reason why I think what happened to Jakarta is sinking or something. And the opportunities are so huge in Kalimantan. In terms of security, the way I look at it, all this will come into play. If you remember that I showed you the pastels program now, that model, the security that probably they may, I think, it's not fair for me to comment on their behalf, but generally, I think they need to look into very much on the internal aspects of the security, because the external, just like Malaysia, the countries in ASEAN, we do not really have a so-called an external threat. I think the threat is very much so-called the internal aspects. Terrorism is one of those things. But the way I have seen so far, countries around the region, we have progressed very well, and working together, getting the right support from ASEAN, especially from the neighboring countries, we are very much together. Because in the domain of, let's say, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, anything that will affect the neighbors. Just like any in our community, something wrong with our neighbor or something around our kampong, it will affect us in general. And everyone country, especially leaders, do understand this. And I think at the highest level, they are very much have the same vision, creating a secure and safe regional environment will actually provide prosperity for all. So I do not see a big issue on that for Indonesia. In fact, it will open up more doors, open up more opportunities for investors to come in. And in this regard, I think Borneo, especially Sabah and Sarawak, should be getting maximum as compared to many other states in Malaysia or other countries. You know, we can go on a long way, host a lot of issues, especially that contribute to the economy. So security, I would like to urge everybody to understand security is a very key element in any development program, and I'm sure these are all already to the outlet. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Admiral Tan Sri, for the kind feedback. Perhaps you may ask again if any other questions from the floor. Well, I just received one particular message here. It is dedicated to Dr. Rafiq. MC, dia nyatakan, I just read out the message ya. MC, sila tolong tanya pada Dr. Rafiq, what will be the impact on the relocations of Jakarta to Kalimantan, as you mentioned just now? Are we focusing more on the port area or road connectivity? Because on the biennial issue, it has been prolonged for so many years. What will be your feedback? All right.
Dato' Razali, can you come again with your question?
All right, I think the questions from the participants is about the relocation of the capital city. But because of biennial has been there for so many years, they are asking, why does it take for so many years to achieve that particular vision?
All right,
for
thank you.
Or development of the biennial. I think that's the point.
All right, thank you. Okay, it's indeed a very good question. Okay, my point of view, okay, there is a difference between AFTA, for example, AFTA, ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, itself is an agreement. It is legally binding. Whereas BIMPIAGA, it's like a program, initiative, and it is not binding. So it's not that stronger. It's not that strong, all right? So in terms of implement, so it's just a program targeting at all on that 5 key areas I mentioned earlier. Whereas for AFTA, it's a commitment to reduce tariff, for example. And the next one, AEC, now that we are talking, the commitment goes beyond removal of tariff, okay? Now we are talking about free movement of capital, investment, and skilled labors among members of ASEAN. So that is my explanation why perhaps BIMPIAGA, people would see why they are not so much success story about BIMPIAGA, but to my humble opinion, the function of BIMPIAGA is not an agreement by itself as compared to AFTA. The function is different. Just like we have other platform, we have Sosek Malindo. So it's a dialogue. It has different function. Yes. That's all, Dr. Razali.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rafiq, for the
Dr. Razali, can I maybe add on a little bit there?
Yes, Tan Sri, please.
I think rightly, as you everyone mentioned, especially you also mentioned, the BIMNIAGA has been there for a very, very long time. Yeah. So again, I relate to Albert Einstein's point just now, which I showed the slide. If we are doing the same thing all over again, expecting something new to happen, it would never happen. So that's why I share with everyone talking about the pastels and also the stakeholder analysis. That would probably be a very interesting way to approach this kind of organization. If not, it will remain there for a very long time. Everybody seems to have the so-called nice statement aspiration, but how committed are people? How because people feel that they are losing out. Because people have perceived that someone is getting more than I do, then nothing will happen. But if everyone feels that yes, I'm getting something out of it, I'm seeing that I can trust the other side, and the trust level is high, and that will move to another step. So my view on this, sometimes we have to, we can have a good program, strategic program, right? But we have to be realistic and try to focus on creating small win. Yeah, small win first. So we go step approach and get small win, then you go to the next one, you go to the next one, and you show the result. You show, you deliver the result, everybody, people feel, all stakeholders feel that they're getting something out of it, then they trust, and then you go to the next level, next level, next level. If not, it would be nice on paper, it looks everything, you know, people talk about international conference. I always relate this. If you want to look at some of the discussion they discuss at the Mega, you refer to the last 20 years, the same discussion, the same resolution. So what do we expect from that? Yeah, just to share my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Nurul Tan Sri. I think that is why the participants actually forwarded the questions via WhatsApp. Yeah. So to any participants that is shy to ask questions, perhaps you may key in your questions on the chat box that we have on Webex venue here. All right. Yes. Any feedback from the floor, please? All right. I think yes. We have Dr. Wesley Asid here, yeah, for the closing ceremony. So okay. All right. Yes. Without further ado, so thank you very much once again for both speakers, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Nurul and Dr. Rafiq Idris, for being the keynote speakers of the session today. We really enjoyed the sessions, and we really thank you for being with us, spending good times with us. Thank you very much once again. All right. We also have a feedback from Afiza to everyone. I think this is Associate Professor Dr. Afiza. Connectivity issues need to be solved and enhanced for the Kalimantan relocations to be realized. I think this is integrated and triangulates the perspective that given by Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri and of course Dr. Rafiq Idris, yeah, on the collaborations between these two nations and within the context of BIM itself, if we may look at the bigger picture, if I may. All right. So yes, without further ado, I will invite Dr. Wesley Asid for the closing speech. So we may invite Dr. Wesley Asid now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all guests, organizing committee, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me to give the closing speech for this important conference. And it is great to see the growth of research interest on the theme of the conference, Socioeconomic Empowerment, Achieving Integration and Sustaining Diversity. I believe that during this one-day conference, we have all had a fruitful discussion and we learned a lot from the keynote session delivered by a wonderful keynote speaker who shared important insights to all of us. I would like to quickly summarize the message taken away from the theme based on the key points made during the conversation. The concept of empowerment in achieving integration and sustainability means giving to people and communities the true capacity to cope with changing environment for higher levels of social and economic participation, increase social awareness, and the utilization of new insights on ecological processes of change and self-renewal as societies and communities strive to enter the transition towards sustainable patterns of development. I'm sure we have all benefited in some way from this conference. Numerous positions and points of view have been outlined and many messages have been delivered. covering the whole spectrum of the theme as seen from the perspective of academics, business players, and policymakers. I know there have been many fascinating and valuable presentations in the concurrent session. I believe that many positive experiences have been shared and that good lessons have been learned. There is indeed plenty to reflect upon, and if this in any way enhances our individual and collective contribution to face the global socioeconomic challenges, then this conference can truly be adjudged a success. I would like to thank all presenters and participants who have joined this conference from all over Asia. I sincerely hope that through your presentation and discussion afterwards, all of us will contribute to building the capacity of communities to respond to a changing world through creativity, innovation, in achieving the sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing, I would like to congratulate the Best Paper Award winner. We hope this award will further encourage the publication of high quality papers in reputable journals and wish all scholars great success in their career. My heartfelt gratitude goes to the co-organizer of this conference, Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS, for being a wonderful team that has been constantly working and offering endless support from the start to the end of the conference. Finally, I would like to thank all the members of the committee for their great assistance and contribution in making this conference a success and ensuring that it continues smoothly. I would like to apologize for any inconvenience you may encounter during this conference. Since the IBBC conference is a biennial event, and we look forward with great anticipation to our next conference in 2022, the 10th International Borneo Business Conference that will be hosted in UNIMAS, in which I believe more interesting issues on business and economics will be explored. I would like to close my remarks and officially announce the end of the morning session of this conference and wishing the future prosperity to all the participants. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Recitation, being the conference chair of IBBC 2021 this year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Best Paper Award normally will be given throughout the seminar or the conference. The Best Paper Award recognizes the authors of the best paper that has been selected and be vetted. So let us invite Yang Besar Dr. Rosli Asid, once again, IBBC Conference Chair, to announce the Best Paper Award.
Right. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Razali. I will now announcing the Best Paper Awards winner. Right. So on behalf of the IBBC 2021 Working Committee, I'm pleased to announce the winner of the IBBC 2021 Best Paper Award as follows. First, Best Paper Award goes to Dr. Fang Ing alias Grace and Dr. Zaitun Osman with article entitled Generation Cohorts in Shopping Experience and Customer Satisfaction and Examination of Malaysian Grocery Retail Consumers. Next one. The next paper award goes to Dr. Dewasnarni Mudad, Sylvia Nabila Azwa Amdad, and Rosmima Muhammad Roslin with paper entitled The Impact of EAO Model Among Youth in Sabah, Malaysia, Intention of Becoming an Entrepreneur. The next one. The third Best Paper Award goes to MG Westri Kekali Susilowati, Retno Yustini Wahyu Ning Dia, and Widuri Kurniasari with the paper entitled Developing the Strategy of Ecotourism Development Based on Regional Planning Analysis, the Study of Kabalong Ecotourism, Pakalongan Regency, Indonesia. Congratulations to all the best paper awards recipients. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Ravi.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Yaki. Before we officially end the opening ceremony, we would like to request all participants to turn on your camera for a group photo. So everyone, you may switch on your camera. Let's take a Wi-Fi, a group Wi-Fi photos, you know, for memorable sessions today. Thank you so much. Tan Sri is still being with us today. Dr. Rafiq still being with us today. So yes, we also have Encik Zul, yeah, who is actually the sponsor of the event, yeah, from Juta Craft Enterprise. Thank you for all the sponsors once again. We have Grandis Hotel Resort, Kota Kinabalu, Juta Craft, and a couple of other companies as well. So okay, let's take out the count. I will take the photos from here as well. So let me count from 1, 2, 3, and say cheese. All right, one more time so that we do not miss our beloved and respected Tan Sri here. All right, so one more time. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, okay, thank you very much for all of the participants, especially to Yang Berbahagia, Admiral Tan Sri, Dr. Rafiq, for being the keynote. On behalf of the organizing committee, we also prepared UMS Bertekad Cemerlang before the closing. So we would like to share the videos of UMS official songs, Bertekad Cemerlang, or known as Strive to Excel. Okay, so let us have a review on the official Universiti Malaysia song, which was actually composed by Professor Dr. Jamal before. All right, so this is the song. All right, thank you once again. The song was composed by our own Professor Jamal from Faculty of Seni, many years ago. So the song has been revived and has been sang throughout the convocations. I think a lot of students, when they joined in Universiti Malaysia Sabah, couldn't really remember this song, but during the convo, after they have studied in Universiti Malaysia Sabah for 3 years, they will appreciate and value so much on Universiti Malaysia Sabah Bertekad Cemerlang song. So this is the end of our opening ceremony and keynote session today. I am thankful On behalf of the organizing committee, we are thankful to all of the guests, especially the keynote speakers, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, Dr. Rafiq Idris as well, for being with us. So for the parallel sessions today, the link has been shared through the Telegram group chat. So once again, thank you to all distinguished guests. Hope to see you all on the upcoming or next year's IBBC conference. So this is the parallel sessions. We will start at 1:45 p.m. up until 3:15 p.m., 3:30 p.m. and up until 5 p.m. All right, so stay tuned on the Telegram group chat. You will have the link to join for the parallel sessions. Right, so with that note, good day everyone and enjoy the parallel sessions.